you've got a unified look, and everything feels great in the hand. It's just not a cutting tool. It's a looking at tool. Okay, today I'd like to talk about these two knives. They are both Paul Rathbun custom knives. Paul Rathbun is a 15-year-old knife maker who, according to his Gear Bastion website, has been making knives for about a year. At the top is his EDC Fixed Blade. It has a 3 1/4 inch blade made of 1095 high carbon steel. It's about 1/8 of an inch wide, and it is full flat ground. It has total length of 7 inches, and the handle is curly gunstock walnut. On the bottom is his drop point Hunter, which has a 4-inch blade made of 1080 high carbon steel. It's about 3/16 of an inch wide, and the total length is 8 inches. The scales are walnut. My initial impressions of these were, quite frankly, really mixed. They're really beautiful. I really like the look of them. I like his style, which I'll talk about a little more later. But, well, let me break out my time machine. Let's go back and look at some of my initial impressions. Now, looking at these knives side by side, you can kind of see the style. They're really good looking. You know, might be a little uneven here, but that's fixable and sharpenable. And he's got a style. For a young knife maker, I think he's already developing a style. I have no complaints about the looks of these knives, initially. My biggest complaint, let me show you with the drop point Hunter. Sometimes you've seen this on his videos. It will not cut. In his videos, you'll often see him stab because, you know, the point is sharp enough. And I have the same problem if I flip this paper over with the EDC. If I can get it firm enough, maybe I can get this tip to cut. But once again, in his videos, he will stab and pull. The problem I have with that is, if I grab this plastic ruler here, which is kind of cut down towards an edge, it will also, with a little practice, tear paper. It doesn't sound quite as elegant, but quite frankly, it won't cut here either. But it will tear and stab. So, if I were to give a message to the knife maker, it's focus on your sharpening. You have a nice style. I think you're really beginning to develop it. You've got a nice shape to everything. You've got a unified look, and everything feels great in the hand. It's just not a cutting tool. It's a looking at tool. Now, back in the future, or the now, or the then, or whenever this is, it's all timey-wimey confusing to me. I put both of these blades onto a strop for about 15 minutes each. The biggest problem I had was on the drop point Hunter, which had a roll or some damage here, and a very persistent burr that I couldn't get rid of until very recently. The result is that if I put them on some ordinary printer paper, and I use the right part of them, they will cut very nicely now. Especially once you get past the damage. When you get on the damaged part, you can hear that kind of growling, crunching noise, and you'll see it actually rip and even bypass a section, which is very unique. If you stab, you actually can do some very nice S-curves as long as you stay on the tip. And it'll even go very smoothly out. The EDC, which I think benefits from a better geometry and being a lot thinner, was a lot easier to sharpen and to strop. And this one you can hear, it's a little thick here, needs a little more work, and that was just me being stupid. But once you get it going, it will also do very smooth S-curves all the way out. So, and they will hold an edge. I've carved wood with them, I've cut cardboard, I've cut lots of paper. I've hacked cardstock, and they've always seemed to hold the edge pretty well once you get the edge on them. I think once I get them onto some sharpening stones, then I'm going to see some really, really good results. I may have to sacrifice some of this patina on this one to kind of push this back just a little bit and give it a slightly better angle. But right now it's fine. It's usable, and I would even trust it to go camping. I'm not sure I trust my life with it, but it's a good knife. And it's actually a cutting tool now. Now, what do I really like about these? I think they both look great. I'm usually not a fan of the acid etching and the patinas and the forced whatever this is. But on both of these knives, I think it works really, really well. This one, the acid etching is not overdone. It made it look a little splotchy in the picture, but in person I think it's really, really sharp. I think his Kydex sheaths are also really nice, especially for the EDC. I mean, it doesn't shake at all. It doesn't shake out. And although it doesn't pop and like shoot across the room and stab the person next to you or stick in the wall, with just a slight push, it comes quietly out so you don't disturb the neighbors. If you were wearing this as a neck knife, just one little push and it slides right out, but it's still very, very tight. The Kydex sheath for the Drop Point Hunter has this little curve on it, which is a little weird, but doesn't seem to affect anything. It is, however, extremely tight, and it lacks any kind of thumb ramp, so you have to get exactly the right angle or it doesn't come out. See, that's not coming out at all. I'll have to move it in order to pull it out. So that would be my only complaint about this sheath. That and this odd little belt loop, which isn't particularly useful, but I can make something of it. But everything else about them I like. His handles are terrific. He does a really good job on both sets of handles. This side has some taper, and everything fits really well. I do wish he had cut or tapered this down a little more, but quite frankly, no matter how you hold it, when you grip up on it, if you're holding it like this, if you're cutting this way, it feels great. And same with this one. Originally I was worried about this little swell getting in the way, but no, it was made for my hand. It's perfect. Also, regarding balance, if I take this one and just grab it with my finger, it balances right on that first finger choil there. This one, if it weren't for the lanyard, I think would do the same. Right now it balances just to the front of that swell. The Drop Point Hunter might be a little heavy to go long-term camping with, but it's usable. It's usable. All in all, I think he's a maker worth following. I'm going to look back at his store in a year, maybe year and a half, see what he has available, buy another knife, see how he's improved, see how he's changed. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. Until then, if you're looking to buy a knife, I would prioritize getting one of these EDCs, especially if he can do the Kydex sheath that well. I think this is a good size. I think you could carry this as a neck knife, and people would actually be really impressed with it if you're the kind of person who shows off your knives. But that's just my opinion. It might be mere blather.